what I'd like you to do is to take that insert out of the gospel passage and keep it in front of you. I'm not going to be preaching so much as taking you through a text and have the text preach at you. This is what we call old-fashioned Bible study. Okay? For those of you who were here last week or for any church, if you're here again next week or in any church, what you're going to hear over 5 consecutive Sundays, of which this is only the second, is this sort of break in the action where the churches have taken just one chapter in the Gospel of John, chapter 6, what is referred to in studies the Bread of Life Discourse. And we spend the entire month reflecting on not so much what happened, but what does it mean. It starts last week, this account that appears, I told you, it's the only account that appears in all 4 Gospels. It's the only incident in his life that appears in all 4 Gospels. This collective memory of he was teaching, he's away from the cities, the urban center, a huge crowd follows him, they ain't got no food, to put it bluntly, and somehow he feeds them. And this has such a tremendous, powerful effect on people. It is the one thing that stays in the Christian memory. Now, Matthew, Mark, and Luke state the story, they focus on the incredible event. John, not so much. What John's going to do is try to teach us what does it mean, why it's important. And I've been trying to figure that out because at least in my preparation, in the old days, you all know now, 20 years ordained. So about 43 years ago, I took the course on what they call Showing on Literature, which is the Gospel of John, the 3 letters of John, the book of Revelation, all squished into one chapter. So the professor comes in and says, here, here's the Bible, memorize it, and you're always a fail. That's the course. It's that hard. It really is. But out of the 15 weeks, he chose to spend 5 of those weeks. So that's 1/3 of the entire course on this one chapter. Because it is that important. So I would like to kind of go over with you and try to make it make sense, because it's not about then, it's about now. And it's not about those people, it's about us. So if you look at it, real context, okay? This crowd has been fed. Jesus leaves them, gets on the lake, crosses the side, goes back to where he came from. They wake up in the morning, and it's almost like a cartoon type of thing. The crowd wakes up, he's gone, the closest people around him are gone, so what do? They get into whatever boat they can find, and they kind of cross to follow him, or they go around the lake, and march around, and eventually they get there, so he wakes up the next morning, and bang, the whole crowd's back again. And they're looking for something more. Because you know, that's the problem with bread. It's really not any good. 12 hours later, you're still hungry, right? That wasn't funny, that's true. So he needs to explain what he did and what it means. And what he's going to tell them in a dialogue that's kind of set up, and this is the beauty of the way John writes. This is like a tennis match. Think of it like that. And the ball is going to go back and forth in dialogue between himself and the crowd. He'll say something, they'll respond, they'll say something, he responds, and it goes back and forth, and it's going to end badly. That's the little word. Towards the end of the next 5 weeks. This is not going to be a good end. So here's how it starts. He's going to try to explain to them that he's about to give them more than just bread that fills your stomach. It's the bread of this teaching that's going to fill your heart. Ultimately, the bread is very important. We start off also with a reminder. If this were a Greek Orthodox church, if we were all Greek Orthodox people, half my sermon will be quoting from the great fathers of the church. And I've gone to enough because of my ecumenical commission responsibilities. I've gone to enough Greek Orthodox services. Anybody here Greek Orthodox? Okay, please compare. Veronica, you should be, you just don't know it. Okay? Albanian, you should be Orthodox. Okay? Orthodox sermons always spend a lot of time quoting from the fathers of the church, the first great theologians of the first century of the church. Huge section. I don't do that because I prefer my people to be a great teacher. Okay? But if I were doing that, one of the things I would pull from it today is a comment once made by one of the great fathers, John Chrysostom, supposedly a great preacher. I wouldn't believe that if you read some of the sermons. But he used to say, you know what, human beings, and this is the image he used, are nailed to the things of this earth. We are so bent and determined to only see what we want to see, to only keep our minds focused on what makes sense to us here and now. We're never open to new possibilities. We are nailed to the things of this life. We don't even want to be open to touch the things of eternity. So let me begin with that background And he asks you the question that Jesus kind of asked the crowd. He wakes up, they're all back again, they're all looking for something, and he asks, what are you here for? And that's the question you've got to answer. Why are you here this morning? Why are you here and what are you looking for? They follow because they're hungry, physically hungry, and there are needs. And God knows we still live in a world where there are too many people in this county, in this country, in this world of ours that are physically hungry. You know. But even beyond physical hunger, see, that's not bad enough. There are hungers that even food can't satisfy. There are hungers that money can't satisfy. There are hungers of having stuff that even stuff itself can't satisfy. Do any of you ever remember reading, and I don't say I did this recently, the story of this fellow, he went to a wedding of one of his friend's daughters. His friend was somebody important politically. And he went to her, and all he wrote about was the fact that the daughter was given a wedding gown that cost $800,000. All he remembers about the wedding was how much he complained about it wasn't enough. That even having a gown like that wasn't enough. Don't you remember reading that story? No, you wouldn't, but I said so. It is true. But it's not in the news. We're not talking about a Kardashian, okay? This was an account that I read senior year high school. It was a passage of Latin I had to translate from a historian by the name of Pliny. Pliny went to the daughter of one of his fellow Roman senators. And the senator gave his daughter a gift of a wedding gown that in today's money would cost almost $1 million. And she was miserable. The problem was, she didn't want the gown. She wanted to marry the person she cared about. And that's the gift she couldn't be given, because there are some hungers that are more important than money can fill. So he tells the crowd, you had a great meal. It was unexpected. What do you want? And he knows why they're there. He knows why we're here, or at least why we should be here. We're here because there are hungers that we have. Hungers for food and for life and for love. Hunger knowing that life should have meaning. Hungers believing that I have to be filled by something that gives purpose to my life. Hungers that are part of, I use the metaphor of the heart and soul. What are you looking for? I can give this to you. So now the ball goes to the other side of the test now, okay? And people are saying, all right, what do we have to do to get what you want? Because in the back of their minds there is this, you don't work, you don't need it. All right, so what work do we have to do? Bingo, back to him. His response. All you have to do, believe me, trust me, have faith in me. And that's what it's about. This is what the meaning is about. It's about faith. Because faith is really work. It is a desire, it is a call, it is a response. It is not memorizing propositions in a creed. Those are words we pray. Those are things we reflect upon. But faith requires a relationship. Really allowing God to be friend and father. Responding not in fear, but in trust. Listening to Him who tells us that God truly is Father who loves, who wants to forgive if we will let Him, who wants to bridge the distance between God and between the divine and the human if we will let Him. And faith is a work because it always translates into loving service. Just as the Father sends His Son to love and serve us, we are sent to love and serve others. And that's why faith is always a work. Which is why another one of my really creepy professors, but I do like his course, used to say, faith, hope, and love are intimately bound with each other. You cannot have any one without the other two. One, you lose one, you lose them all. To believe, to trust, to love. Translated, it's the essence of who we are as Christians. Okay, that's all very well and good. Now what do they say? Well, yeah, that sounds good, but why should we believe you? Show me something else. Yeah, you fed us last night. That was great. It's kind of like what I went on here last week telling you. Andy went to the Met game a week ago, right? And we could hear with a big grin on your face because the Mets won 15-2. And what did I think about that? And my typical jaded response is, do it again.
Said they used up all their...
They used up all their runs, was I right?
Okay.
Yeah, we won't talk about last name, all right? That's another thing.
making is what the crowd says, look, we have a memory. This feeding thing has been done before. And the memory they reflect upon is as powerful, it's the heart of the Exodus journey. It's what Riley read in the first reading. It's the story of the Jewish people after they get out of Egypt. They're trapped now in the Sinai desert. How will they survive for what will be year upon year upon year? And the memory that they have, again, is not only what happens and what it means, is they're told, you're going to have something to make bread from. For year upon year, this term manna, M-A-N-N-A, which I was just shocked when I remember in our theology studying what manna actually is. Ron, you're looking at me like you ready for this? What manna really is, a lot of the various types of locusts and bugs that survive out in the desert Sinai, they secrete this kind of white gooey substance that during the night and in the morning the sun hits it and dries it, and you can collect it like flakes and make a powder out of it, and you can make that powder to make bread. That's what manna is. Okay? It's essentially bug bread. But the point is, they see the hand of God who leads them into a place where people will survive. It's not just a one-time event. What's the crowd saying? Fast forward. They're saying, look, something wonderful happened. We want us to believe in you. Give us a reason why. And just a one-time event. Do it often. And Jesus responds, and this is where we end up today. He says, look, you're looking for something more than just physical bread. You're looking for more than just physical hunger being set aside. I'm going to give you something beyond which you could imagine. I'm the bread. The bread of my teaching, ultimately the bread of my life, will sustain you. And that's what the scriptures end today. And we'll pick up again next week. And I'm telling you, the search for meaning, having it make sense, is going to ultimately lead to his rejection. This ends bad. So the questions I ask you this morning are the same ones he posed to the crowd. Really simple. Why are you here? What are you looking for? What hungers do you have? Are you nailed to the things of this life? To quote my friend John Chrysostom. What do you seek?